Our second speaker for today is Leah Dahlstrom from DDS.
Hi. Thank you very much, James. I also have brought along with me my supervisor, Tina Macy. She brings with her a long wealth of knowledge and long history of working in employment. So she has really a wealth of knowledge as well. So between the two of us, we can give you hopefully the best information. But please feel free to ask questions, and we might say the same answer a couple times, which is you might want to look at a referral for Work Without Limits, just because when it comes to benefits, going to the experts, when it comes to anything, right, going to the experts is the best thing to do, and that is a free service available to each individual. And I can give you some updates on what they're looking for their referrals as well. So Tina and myself we work with the regional employment services, and we support folks with their employment goals, whether they are looking to grow in a career or get one of their first jobs, a part-time job, or if they're looking to go from that part-time job to the next step and really grow in their career. So lots of people in different stages, and even recently people retiring. So you might have to excuse me. I have my kiddos. What's up, kiddo? Okay. I need a minute though. Okay, because yes.
Cute.
Thank you. Okay, go. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm not sure where most of you guys are at, but when it comes to your benefits and your employment, the way that typically it will work is that your earned income, the money that you receive in your paycheck from the hours that you work, will impact to an extent your Social Security or your Social Security disability. So if you have SSI or SSDI, that's going to impact your benefits. Your income is going to impact your benefits. So I want to get a sense of what folks are interested in. Are folks interested in entering employment, or are folks already employed? So can I go through and say, if you already have a job, can you raise your hand? And I'm just going to look through and see who's already employed. Okay, so I see two people that are raising their hands that are employed. So then a lot of folks maybe that are thinking about getting employed. So depending on if you have Social Security, SSI, or Social Security Disability Insurance, SSDI, your income will impact your benefits in a little bit of a different way. So the most simple way to explain it is the first $85 that you earn each month does not count towards taking away your Social Security, your SSI, if you have SSI. And then after that, pretty much every time, for every $2 that you make, $1 of your benefits will be removed. And that seems like, ooh, really scary. But the thing to remember is that you're still getting that same amount of money times 2 in your paycheck. So your budget is growing. Even though your benefits are getting smaller, your budget is still growing. And that's a hard thing for people at first, because they get a little squirmy, a little nervous when that benefits check comes after they've reported their wages and it's a little bit smaller, right? But you have more financial room. Okay. So so that's how your income, the money that you earn, would impact your benefits if you were receiving Social Security Insurance, SSI. Okay. If you receive SSDI, it's a little bit different. They are looking at the amount of money that you make each month, and they are looking for certain numbers. And depending on those certain numbers, that will impact your benefits. And it's either you get all of your benefits or you get none of your benefits. So either you earn below SGA, which Tina, correct me if I'm wrong, I do believe is 1,470. No, that was last year. It's 1,550 this year. So as long as you're making under 1,550, that's below SGA. Here's the tricky thing about that. Okay, so yes, that is the number that they're looking for, but really what they're looking for is what's called the trial work period. So that's $1,050. And you get to make that amount for 9 months of the trial work period. And then once you hit that 9th month, you get 3 months grace period and then no more benefits. So you have to be thoughtful about your budget and your earnings. The one thing I will say is that there are a lot of subsidies which can apply to your SSI or your SSDI. Okay. And depending on different factors, you might be eligible for those. So some examples. Actually, first, let me stop. Does anybody have questions at this point? Because it's a lot of information. It is Liz, right? Liz is laughing at me. Does anybody have any questions? I do have tables and things that we could run examples, but I don't want to get overly involved.
I know you're throwing like 80 these formulaic things out. So throw out like a big number and then show like you have a $900 budget and then show how it affects the budget.
Okay. So let's say, are we talking SSI or SSDI? Give me
either one, your choice.
Okay.
So people understand more.
Okay. So let's say that I make $900 a month in benefits. Okay. And that's SSI. Okay. So that means that I'm probably either independent or I'm in a shared home with somebody, right? And I'm helping to pay the bills. And I get a job that pays $15 an hour and I work 10 hours a week. Okay. So that's going to give me $600 a month in income. Okay. So what they're going to do, and just for the sake of easy math, what they're going to do is they're going to take that first 85 and they're going to say, okay, you don't have to pay on this. For the sake of easy math, and using just approximate numbers, I'm going to say the first 100. Okay. So that first 100, you're not going to have to pay towards, but then that leaves us $500 remaining. And what that means is that for every $2 in earnings, $1 in benefits goes away. That means that of that $500, they're going to look at it, they're going to cut it in half. They're going to say 250, right? And they're going to take that 250 away from the 900, which is going to give you $650 in benefits versus the $900 in benefits. Now, right now you're going, stop. Oh my goodness. No, don't take my money away. Right. But here's the thing. You have that $650 plus the $600 that you earned in your income. Right. So now that's $1,250. So your budget just grew significantly. Okay, so that's where it's not the worst thing in the world to have some of your benefits taken away because you're earning. Because what that means is you're earning, and that's really a great position to be in. It gives you a lot more financial freedom because, as you know, it's very expensive to live these days, right? Okay, so now I'm going to flip that. I'm going to talk SSDI. Okay. So,
Leah,
Tina, yeah.
I just want to interrupt. When you're talking about SSDI, you said after the grace period you don't get a check, but they
3 months.
No.
Nope.
But if you earn under SGA, you still get both checks, and you don't get any check, but you still, yeah.
Yeah, so that is a really good point. So with that, if any month that you are under earning under SGA, then yes, you would still qualify. Yeah.
And the idea behind SSDI is you're on SSDI if you've had some work experience. So the idea around the trial work period is, am I ready to leap into full-time employment? or high number of hours of employment. If you're still just working a few hours and you're under the trial work period amount, you'll still keep getting both. But the idea of trial work period is in any given month of those 9 months, you can work 60 hours and earn 6,000. You can earn an unlimited amount of money to see, am I ready? Am I feeling healthy enough? Can I manage a full-time job or a 30-hour a week job, right? So the idea is trial. Like, I'm trying to see, am I really ready for this or not? And then give you 9 different months to try it out. And that way, you don't usually wait till the 9th month to decide if you could do that. You kind of figure it out before then. But that's why it's over 5 years. Maybe this year you do a couple months of full-time work and you have a setback. You're like, oh, I can't do it anymore. And then the next year, after a year and a half, you have more recuperation, or you get healthier, or your surgery, or you just feel you're in a better job, a better match in your job, and you try again. So the idea is you can always be working, but are you ready to leap into more hours of your work? Yeah. And so there's a safety net. If you decide, if you do your trial work period, but you still realize I'm not really ready for full time, you just work under the SGA, which is higher than the trial work period amount, and you still get both checks. I just want to clarify that a little bit because it seemed a little scarier when you said it earlier.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I don't want it to sound scary. And it does. That's something that is really important and that I neglected to mention. I think it's a really important point. That with SSDI, you're only receiving that if you have consistently been working and paying in, right? So that says I have a work history, right? And it really is. It's something that either for certain reasons you are unable to earn above the SGA amount, maybe because it's not sustainable or whatever reason. But with, okay, so somebody in the chat said that everybody here, okay, is really more looking to enter employment. Okay. So that's really a lot more helpful. Okay, so with that, let's talk a little bit more about SSI. So with that, there's some subsidies that will help you in expanding your earning potential, but also in the real point of them is so that the expense related to working doesn't make working an obstacle or doesn't become another obstacle to employment. So like a really good example of something that's expensive that's related to working is your transportation, right? So if you have certain specialized transportation that you have to pay for, there are different incentives that you have to keep good records, but you can get some of your money back. And so that's helpful. So if you're wondering to yourself where you might find this information, Work Without Limits, the website is, I'm going to drop it here in the chat. So they have a lot of resources, even if you're not sure that you're ready to jump right back into work and you just want to learn about some of the things that are available. I would definitely encourage you. For some reason, this link is acting funny. So yeah, I would definitely encourage you to check out this website and the resources on it. And if you go up to the very right-hand corner, it says resources, and it's an endless list of just various different types of resources. One second. Not sure if this will go
while she's looking for that, one of the things Leah is really good at reminding people of is anytime you have a change in your housing and who you're living with and how many people you're living with, it's really important, even if you're not working, to report changes in your living circumstances, because that will affect the amount of benefits you're entitled to, which again helps you to be able to work more hours, right? So anytime, the higher, the you want to make sure you're reporting your living situation, your marital status, your all of your earned and unearned income for SSI. That way, you have the most potential to work and to try work to see if you're ready for more hours. So did you find what you're looking for? I just want to fill in the gap.
Yeah, I just put that in the chat for everybody. I wanted to make sure everybody could get it. That's Work Without Limits. And so there's also the opportunity, excuse my little one, my 3-year-old here climbing up on me. There's also the opportunity to get a referral for them, but they did recently change some of their requirements. So you do have to be actively engaged in work with an agency, whether it's something like Regional Employment, which is the agency I work for, or if it's something like Viability or Work Opportunity Solutions in the community. Please excuse me while I take my 2-year-old downstairs, or my 3-year-old downstairs. Give me just one moment.
How about any questions so far? Anyone have a question or a situation they wanted to run by us? Feel free to speak up or write it in the chat.
And remember, if you have a question that you don't want to ask, but you want the answer to it, you can also send it to me and I will ask on your behalf.
Sure.
Can I ask for a clarification?
Please.
That I think would be helpful to a lot of folks?
Yeah.
How would we keep records of work-related expenses so that we can get that money back, like Leah was talking about?
Yes, very good point. So a lot of things are considered work-related expenses. Uniforms, transportation that's not regular, taking the bus, any kind of specialty transportation, private transportation that you need somebody to drive you to, paratransit, job coaching, special accommodations like special tools that you need to have at the job place, special equipment. When you keep a receipt of all of the things that you have to purchase, or you keep the bill. If it's an ongoing expense, you keep a copy of the bill. And so you include that with your pay stubs. So there's multiple ways to report your pay stubs and your income. Now, you guys mentioned earlier that most people are only on SSI because they haven't worked extensively. And so the key part about SSI is they expect you to report both earned income and unearned income. Yep. So the challenge with that can be, some people like to play the lottery. You buy a lottery ticket, that's unearned income if you win. Right. Or, you get an inheritance. That's a lot of money coming in that month. You got to report that. So again, they're thinking you're getting something in, so it should be okay that you don't get this check. But keeping track of that and reporting that is really important. And that's why Leah was explaining those work-related expense, those ERWs. And so if you keep the receipts or the bills and you submit both of those, that helps reduce what they subtract out of your check. So that you get more in your check and more in your paycheck at work. That's the idea. Does that answer your question, Amber?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure everybody understood some examples of that because it's a really useful tool.
Sure. Yeah. And there are lists. I just gave some basic ones, but on the website, there'll be a whole list.
Guys, when I take a taxi to go to Westfield to do a presentation on awareness and action, I fill out a travel log to Mass, and they reimburse me for the transportation.
But that's not the same thing as what we're talking about, James.
Yeah, okay. That's different because it's covered. But if by chance you were paying for that taxi and you kept all of your receipts for that, that would be an example of what we're talking about. Okay. Moses had a question. I saw his hand up.
Yeah, I do. For what Tina was talking about, uh, how would it work if like for like the pay stub? Because when you were saying that, I tried to question, but then when you were talking more, I was trying to figure out how to put the question in like in a right way. Um, like how exactly can you report a pay stub?
Okay, so reporting your wages.
Something that what
So,
kind of I guess I don't know, to be honest.
no,
Well,
it's okay. I think, go ahead.
Moses, first, are you clear on what a pay stub is?
I guess. Uh, well, yeah, sort of like when I used to like do you like keep that, let's say, for like stuff for like the government or whatever, or like to get it back, like for your 401k towards the end of the year? Or you know, I'm sorry if I'm
No, you're
confusing
not.
with so many questions.
No, you're good. So you're right. It does. If you have a 401k or if you have some kind of savings related to your retirement, it will give you some information on your pay stub. So at the end of each pay period, which is usually 1 or 2 weeks, you will receive a what's called a pay stub, and on it, it will tell you how many hours you worked. It will have your hourly wage. It will give you the total amount of money that you were paid before taxes. And then it will break down all of the withholdings for your state and federal income tax. And if you maybe are part of a union or anything else, or for instance, you were talking about 401k, if you have any withholdings for retirement, it'll give you a breakdown of all of that information. And then I think it'll also tell you like how many hours you have for your paid time off or your sick time. So it's a really helpful resource and tool for a lot of information that you're going to need, right? And as this helpful resource and tool for information, the Social Security Administration needs to see your pay stubs so that they can verify your income, so that they can know what the appropriate amount of benefits are to provide you with for each month.
Got it.
Okay.
All right.
And there are a couple different ways that you can get that information to the Social Security Administration.
That's a good time to share that.
Yeah, so you can do a few different things. You can call, and I can give you the number, and actually I have a little, I don't know if I can share my screen. Let me see if I can pull this up. So you can call. You can use the myssa.gov. Does anybody use that? Raise your hand. Does anybody ever use this? So this is a really helpful tool, folks. If you have benefits, you definitely want to take a look at myssa.gov and want to set up a profile for yourself. Okay. It's very, very helpful. And so anytime, let's say you got a letter and maybe it got put in the garbage can before you got to read it thoroughly, or maybe, maybe you're trying to get somebody that is with your family or individual supports to help you with navigating this, and you cannot find the letter. You could go onto myssa.gov and you could find that information. So any letters, any information that they have sent you will be there. And then you can also use myssa.gov to report your wages, as long as they have your employer registered. So you have to inform them when you get a position, when you get a job, so that they can put that information in there. And you can also keep track of your benefits there. So that's a very, very helpful resource. And in here, I'm going to drop that link in here.
Yeah, because usually if when I get the Social Security Administration in the mail, I always get that to my mom, because she's the one that knows like more of that stuff than I do. So she basically like will take care of everything, and so I think she'll send it to someone that I think that will take care of it, I think. Or
Moses, I feel like maybe somebody has set you up to like segue me on some of these topics. This is really great. This is great. So, so what you might be talking about is, does mom manage your account, manage your money,
Um,
like pay your bills and stuff?
only my phone that she uses, or that she uses a debit card, because since even though it is my bill, but since she's the one that pays for it, so even though the bill is under my name, but then it comes out of her because that's the way it was set up.
Okay. So the only reason
Yeah,
I'm asking is because there's a thing called a rep payee. And it sounds like maybe if you're passing some of the information off to your mom and having her handle it, maybe you have a rep payee, or maybe you have a similar relationship of having a rep payee, which is really what the Social Security Administration has created that for, a rep payee position. Annie, I
right.
want to answer your question, but I also want to make sure I didn't share the two other ways that you can report your wages. So I want to go back to that in a second. Annie, go ahead.
I used to have a rent payee, but I half and half do through ServiceNet,
Uh-huh.
and they somewhat help me budget because I have personal ways that I budget, but they
Awesome.
help me like if I need help budgeting.
Yeah.
And I go through DDS, my service coordinator, Sarah
Awesome.
Gillette, somewhere. I don't know her last name. But she helps me budget, like if I need help budgeting. Like I talk to her once a year, basic maybe for my ISP, but ServiceNet mostly helps me budget my money
Uh-huh.
if I need help. But the only thing they withhold me having my money sometimes. They don't give it to me all the time.
Is that
And
your
that's
are they your rep payee?
yeah.
So
Um
are there, or do they pay bills on your behalf?
let's see. Rent, electric. 3 bills, but and then the rest they withhold from me. They won't let me have it.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I would definitely tell Sarah, your service coordinator, about that. I would talk to her about that and see if maybe she can help you figure out what's going on there.
She's on the same page as them though. She's like definitely on the same page as them. She sides with them.
Okay. So it sounds like maybe they're using that money to pay some bills or something like that. You can always request a benefits planning query from your benefits, and you can always request from ServiceNet, that they give you an overview of your spending.
Okay.
You can always, and it sounds like you're really resourceful and a good advocate for yourself from what you've told me about how you've been able to leverage using your service coordinator and the resources available to you through ServiceNet. So I know this is frustrating, but it sounds like it is something that you could navigate in asking them. Just ask ServiceNet for just a layout of what your spending is, and you can request a benefits planning query, and you can do that on myssa.gov.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a really it's pretty simple.
I don't think she's asking for how much she earns. That's all the benefit query can do. What you want to ask is for an accounting of how they're spending your money. That they're required to record that. So knowing how much you earn is what the BPQI can do, Y can do, but you want to know how are you spending my money as a rep payee, and they have to have that all written down, and you can ask for a copy of that so that you understand why they're withholding some money. What you're withholding it, but what are you spending it on my behalf? Because they are required by law to make that it has to be on your behalf. It has to be for your benefit, your responsibilities. And so Social Security can't tell you what they're spending your money on. That's what I'm trying to say, Leah.
Oh no, the only reason that I was thinking that the BPQY might be helpful is so that she could say, this is how much I've received in benefits, so she knows her baseline, and then she can hold ServiceNet accountable for that amount for each month.
Yeah. Because I would like to see some of it.
Yeah. So we only have a couple minutes left, but I want to go back over a few things. So
Actually, I'm sorry to cut you off, but the person that's a rep payee is my mom, because the way we have it like in the bank that her name is like is like the first person like in the bank store. Yeah, so my mother is my repeater. She takes care of everything because
Okay, so
it's like under her name.
right. So she would be somebody who would do your wage reporting and manage that. So with your wage reporting, you can do that online, you can do it on the phone, you can do it in person at the office, or you can send a letter or fax. And if you send a letter, you want to make sure it's certified mail, because you always just want to have some kind of receipt to show that it was sent, which is why I like to do the fax, or my preferences online. But that requires for folks to be signed up for the myssa.gov. And then with SSI specifically, you want to make sure that you're always updating anytime your living situation changes. If you are living by yourself, right? So that's the maximum amount of benefits that you would receive. If you're living with somebody and you're helping to pay the bills, then that's the next step down. And then or if you're in some kind of shared living situation, same situation. Or there are folks who live with family members and who their families take care of their expenses. So depending on what that status is, you want to make sure if there's ever a change with that you inform Social Security. Same as if you have a change in your employment, you want to inform them. And that will just help you maintain your benefits. I don't want to get you guys off schedule, but does anybody have one last question? Nope.
No, I think I'm all set.
Cool.
Thank you.
Nope. I really appreciate you guys having us over, or virtually over.
And I think it's really great that all of you showed up, because that means you have some level of interest in learning about how work will impact your benefits. And, we're all about helping people find a way to use their skills and abilities and interests to add to their life, right? So like Malia said, when you work, you're always increasing your budget. You're always increasing your disposable income, money you can spend on extras or things you really want to do or things you really want to buy. So working provides a lot of benefits. First of all, it helps you make new friends. It helps you to feel like you're using your talents in a new way. And it gives you some extra income. There's so many benefits of working. So, but just, be prepared for when you go to work, what might happen to your benefits, and then it'll help you to feel less scary.
Yeah. And if you have that available healthcare related to your benefits, you don't have to worry, as long as you're doing like a part-time job or you're not earning above the SGA. You don't have to worry about losing your healthcare at all. So I know that there's some myths out there about that, and I just want to debunk that that just because you're offered insurance through your employer does not mean you have to take it, and it does not make you automatically ineligible for your Mass Health.
Oh, okay.